Trench warfare, life inside WW1 trenches. Imagine living months underground. World War I transformed the battlefield into a stagnant, muddy, and terrifying landscape. Trench warfare became the defining feature of the Western Front, where millions of soldiers lived, fought, and died in long networks of dugout earth. At the start of the war in 1914, both sides expected fast victory. However, new technology, machine guns, rapid-fire artillery, and barbed wire made open-field attacks extremely deadly. Armies were forced to dig into the ground for protection. Soon, thousands of miles of trenches stretched from the coast of Belgium down through France to Switzerland. Life in the trenches was not heroic, it was survival. The trenches were usually around 7 feet deep and wide enough for 2 people to pass. Soldiers reinforced the walls with wood planks and sandbags, but no matter how carefully they were built, the trenches could never protect soldiers from the horror around them. Rain turned everything to mud. Soldiers slept standing up or on soaked ground. In winter, the cold could freeze feet until the flesh turned black, a condition known as trench foot. Rats thrived in the trenches, growing fat on the bodies of the dead. They crawled over soldiers as they slept. Lice infested clothing and caused constant itching. Disease spread quickly. Everyday life followed a harsh routine. There were long hours of waiting, watching, and listening. Soldiers took turns on sentry duty, scanning for movement in the enemy trench just across the battlefield. Between them lay no man's land, a torn wasteland of mud, barbed wire, destroyed trees, and corpses. Crossing it meant almost certain death. When attacks were ordered, soldiers climbed ladders and charged forward. Machine guns fired at impossible speed. Artillery rained explosions. Men collapsed in seconds. A single attack often cost thousands of lives, but gained only a few hundred meters of ground. The land was paid for in blood. Nights were restless. Soldiers used darkness to repair trenches, bring supplies, or retrieve wounded men screaming from no man's land. The sound of distant artillery became constant, like thunder that never stopped. The smell of gunpowder mixed with mud, blood, and death. Yet, in this brutal environment, soldiers developed brotherhood. They shared cigarettes, told stories, wrote letters to families, and supported each other through fear. The trench became not just a battlefield, but a world, one where everyday emotions were amplified. A joke could be precious. A letter from home could feel like life itself. Commanders attempted new strategies to break trench deadlock. Poison gas was introduced, burning lungs and blinding eyes. Tanks appeared, slow and unreliable but powerful. Airplanes flew overhead, first for scouting, later dropping bombs. Still, the lines barely moved for years. The emotional toll was heavy. Soldiers lived with constant awareness that death could arrive silently, from a sniper shot, a gas cloud drifting in the wind, or an artillery shell falling without warning. Many experienced shell shock, what is now known as PTSD. Their minds struggled to process endless fear and trauma. The war finally shifted in 1918 when fresh troops and improved tactics allowed one side to push the other back. When the armistice was signed, the trenches were abandoned, but the scars remained. Millions had died. Millions more were wounded. Trench warfare taught the world that modern war was not glorious. It was mechanical, destructive, and cruel. Men were reduced to surviving in mud, waiting for orders that might send them to death. The memory of the trenches became a symbol of the tragedy of World War I, a reminder that human life is fragile, and war reshapes everything it touches. Imagine living months underground. For those soldiers, it was not imagination, it was reality.